So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker this afternoon at our Cliftonville classrooms is Jodie Nestle from Isle of Thanet News. Could I ask you to give her a really
Thanks very much, and thanks for coming along to hear me talk about local news, which is not as dry as you may think. Trust me, I've done Birchington Parish Council meetings for 4 hours in the winter. It doesn't get much on the edge than that, if I'm being completely honest. But thanks very much for coming to talk about, listen to me talk about local news, because we're really passionate about what we do, and we really believe in its importance as a community and for society as a whole. And we live in unprecedented times at the moment, where the word truth is malleable at best, and maybe even philosophical to some. So truth, being the word, is incredibly important in our job. And when we are threatened by people like Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, who got sacked as a journalist for lying, it does make you question about the force that we play. But anyway, for the positives, what I'll continue to say is, me and my business partner Kathy set up a newspaper in December. We were a little bit drunk because it was a ridiculous decision, because print is declining, and we was like, what the hell, let's do it. Let's do it differently. Let's write long form journalism to complement the information that you get on a daily basis for the websites. So we did do it, and we launched in December. In July, we were awarded highly commended at the Kent Press and Broadcast Awards, which was phenomenal. We was alongside highly esteemed peers and colleagues, and it was a bit of a shock to be honest with you, and we were really very pleased with it. Now, I'm not even looking at my notes now, so I've gone off piste, but here we are. So basically, why is it important? Nina Hussain, who's the ITV anchor, was presenting the awards. She mentioned something that has always gone across my mind. If there was a robust local newspaper in Kensington, would there have been a Grenfell? I strongly believe it may not have happened had it been the case, because it would have been exposed by people who hold authorities to account. And that is why we get into this gig, to do just that. It's very difficult to persuade people to get on board with journalism, because the press indeed has a bad press. And for some reasons why, justly, rightly so. But if you go from the business models of the conglomerates that own most of our press, to the little people, which is me and Kath, running our business, we believe there is a bright future for journalism if it's funded correctly and is independent. Now, going back to the Grenfell case, Kathy and I report on stories that are deeply unpopular. You may not like the stuff that we print, but we will always do it to uncover truth. If we write about the NHS, it's not because we want to slam them. We want to expose the shortcomings that are given by the powers that be. We want to say no. It's not because the doctors and the nurses are terrible people, it's because they haven't got any money and they're worked ragged. And if we don't expose that, to coin a phrase from the New York Times, democracy dies in the darkness. So imagine how unpalatable it is, especially on our front page today, which is a family of 6 living in a tent, 6 children rather. The youngest one is 3 years old. And it might not be a good advert for Thanet, but we have to continue reporting it and bringing it to the fore. Now, to our own little newspaper, which we love dearly, what have we achieved so far? So, Private Eye has picked up the fact that we exposed the fact that Kent County Council was paying £500 for an ill-fated Brexit run for the lorries. That got picked up by all the nationals. It's a very important mechanism for filtering up to the national papers. They scan all the local newspapers every day, and then often you will read one of our stories a couple of days later. You read it here first. Yeah. So, we also love the fact that local journalism is bonkers. And to cut some of the funnier things that we have done, as my former editor and very good friend put on Twitter the other day. So he basically got a new cub reporter in, and he put on Twitter, So our new reporter has just thrown up after an oyster eating competition and had his sandwich stolen from a golden retriever out of his hand on the job, which is peak local journalism. And it's important because, to coin somebody else, which is Ricky Gervais in Afterlife, who worked on a local paper, and it was very endearing for us to watch it actually, because in the very last episode he said, when he was trying to get his life back together, he said everyone deserves to be in their local newspaper. And it's true. It's why my mother still has a yellowing copy of the Billericay Recorder somewhere of me trying to save a new from Newsey Woods from 1989 or something like that. It's the ones that get stuck on the fridge. There are lots of ways we can go forward with journalism, but it is crucial that it needs funding. It needs funding from everybody so everybody can access their news, whether in print or online, because the truth is under attack. Canterbury Crown Court had Tommy Robbins in there, who was basically banter rights for contempt of court. It undermines not only our democracy, it undermines our legal system, and it's contempt of court, it's contempt for our legal system. So when someone says to me, you newspapers, you write whatever you like, we really don't. We absolutely don't. We do. Thanks, mate. So basically, apart from that guy over there, and in the stripy shirt, thanks a lot. So anyway, we have these people owning truth and creating it for what they want for their own means. And basically the court system, the contempt of court thing is a serious issue. So whereby you have Facebook, when people believe facts are facts, but they're not. And they also routinely break the law. We're not allowed to do a lot of things, and we have some of the strictest libel laws in the whole world. Much more so than America, actually, which is why people always get sued over here, basically, if you wanted to know that little nugget. But we have uncovered a lot of things. You have Carol Cadwallader is doing amazing stuff. We have Amelia Gentleman that's done the Windrush scandal, which is amazingly award-winning journalism. Locally, we've exposed county line gangs in here with girls being trafficked. This is in our town. And again, I know it's not an advert for the touristy part of our town, which we celebrate with wonderful events like this. But we need to keep an eye on it and not let it go under the carpet just because we want people to come here. It doesn't work like that. And a really good example I will use from that is the Jaws scenario. But basically, there's no sharks in the water. They won't come. And of course, we all knew what happened then. So, I think I've said my piece, or as much as I can do. But be aware that local news is always changing things. Most recently, a Maidstone paper made the local authority change their housing policy because a man killed himself because he wasn't allowed to bring his dog with him to a new home, and it was his family, and he became so depressed. On the back of reporting that grim story, their policy changed. So remember, you might think it's all bad news, but it isn't. Keep in mind the pictures of people saving newts, but also remember that we have to uncover the bad stuff. And if you would like to fund our journalism by a couple of pounds a month, if you enjoy reading our articles, then please pick a newspaper up at the end, and there's a top banner where you can donate and help me and Kathy stay alive, basically. Thank you very much.
Speaker, so thanks very much. But look at all these people you've got in this hot tent, so thanks for that. As Jodie says, you know how to reach her, and I think it's really important that we do support the Irish news so that we can get some truth out there. I don't know if you know, Cliftonville Games, the weather was so bad last time that it was cancelled. If it hadn't been for the support of Planet News, we wouldn't have been able to hold the event today because the council said we had to give them 14 weeks to put all the forms in and Planet News. So that's why we're on today. Our next speaker will be at 2:30, and that will be 3:30, thank you. Amy Redmond from Sync the Pink. So I hope to see you in about 20-25 minutes. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Wow, thank you. Yeah, they're really good.